Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're setting out on, well, not just a trip, but more like a journey into the very heart of Japan,
Yeah.
a place where time, just seems to flow differently. We're talking about Kyoto,
Yes.
and it often feels less like just a city and
Yeah.
more like stepping into a living museum. Every temple bell, every single stone in those gardens, even a cup of tea, it all tells a story, a thousand-year story.
It really does. It's palpable.
It's not like Tokyo with that frantic neon pulse
Yeah.
or Osaka's kind of boisterous energy.
Completely different vibe.
Kyoto moves
Uh,
differently. There's this tranquil, almost deliberate rhythm, like a deep breath of tradition that's been, well, consciously kept alive, nurtured even.
that's a perfect way to put it. Consciously preserved.
So our mission today on this deep dive is to really try and understand that, the idea of Kyoto. We'll trace its path from its start as the imperial capital,
A grand stage.
right up to its vibrant present.
Yeah.
We'll look at the aesthetics born there, wander those timeless districts, taste the unique food,
Which is incredible.
and maybe figure out how you, listening, can kind of find your own story within that ancient landscape.
Okay, let's unpack this incredible place. Kyoto really is one of those cities that stays with you, doesn't it? It sort of visits you.
You've hit on something crucial right there,
Mm-hmm.
because what's truly fascinating, I think, is that we're not just looking at, a historical city in the usual sense.
Right.
We're exploring a deliberate act,
Mm.
an act of cultural preservation. This city actively chose its destiny to be a custodian of tradition.
Wow.
So Kyoto isn't just old buildings, it's more like an idea, the idea of beauty, of heritage, of time itself, all carefully held within those mountains surrounding it.
That's beautiful.
And understanding Kyoto really means understanding some fundamental layers of Japanese identity. It shows how tradition isn't just some dusty relic.
Yeah, not just in a glass case.
Exactly. It's an active, living force. It shapes the present. And luckily, our sources, they give us this rich, intricate picture. We can really trace that journey, see how the city made that powerful choice. That idea of a conscious choice,
Mm-hmm.
it's really powerful. It almost makes it sound like Kyoto turned what could have been a political loss into its greatest cultural win, leveraging its past for its future.
In many ways, yes, it speaks volumes about resilience.
It really does. But to get that decision, we need to go way back, right to the beginning, walk through those layers of history.
The foundation.
Because for over 1,000 years, Kyoto wasn't just any city. It was the stage for Japan's political, spiritual, cultural drama.
Yeah.
And it all officially starts in 794 AD. Emperor Kanmu decides to move the capital.
A huge move.
Huge, not just packing boxes. This was strategic. So
Right.
what was the real reason? Why move then?
Well, it was absolutely pivotal. And it came down to a need for, let's say, political and spiritual breathing room. The era just before, the Nara period,
Okay.
had seen these powerful Buddhist monasteries, especially Nara itself, become incredibly influential, almost too influential, politically intrusive even.
So getting tangled in politics.
Exactly. Their power was starting to challenge the imperial court's own authority. Emperor Kanmu basically needed a clean slate, a new stage for imperial power, away from those old entanglements.
Makes sense.
So the new capital was named Heian-kus, which translates beautifully as capital of peace and tranquility.
Peace and tranquility. Nice.
A name that turned out to be, well, prophetic in terms of its cultural legacy, definitely.
Sure.
But also, as history often shows, maybe a little ironic given the political storms that would come later.
Always the way, isn't it?
And the site itself. Pure strategic genius, chosen with meticulous care, guided by these ancient Chinese principles of geomancy. Feng shui, essentially.
Okay, I've heard of that.
So imagine mountains on three sides, natural defenses, a sense of good energy, clear boundaries, plus rivers running through it vital for trade, for farming, for spiritual purity. It was seen as the perfect spot for a prosperous, lasting capital, aligning nature and ambition.
Wow.
And then the city itself laid out in this precise, symmetrical grid, a direct imitation of Chang'an.
The capital of Tang Dynasty, China.
The very same. And this wasn't just about practical roads. No, it was a powerful statement, cosmological even, projecting imperial authority, cosmic harmony, intentionally linking Japan to what was seen as the height of civilization at the time. It was about order, power, sophistication.
So this very deliberate move to Heian-ku, it kicks off what we often call a golden age for Japan, right? The Heian period, 794 to 1185. What made it so crucial for Japan's own cultural identity, especially with China still being such a big influence?
That's the key point. It's during the Heian period that Japan really starts forging its own distinct cultural identity, moving out from under that massive shadow of continental culture.
Finding its own voice.
Exactly. While they definitely drew inspiration from China initially, it was inside the refined, almost insulated world of the imperial court in Hankyu that Japanese art, poetry, literature, architecture,
Hmm.
they all started developing these unique, incredibly subtle styles.
Ah,
This era gave us masterpieces that fundamentally shaped the Japanese aesthetic. You mentioned The Tale of Genji.
right, the world's first novel.
Often considered that, yes. Written by Murasaki Shikibu, a lady-in-waiting, right there in the Heian court. It gives us this amazing window into the lives, the loves, the incredibly complex social rules of the aristocracy.
Fascinating.
And think about the art, the delicate brushwork, the emphasis on subtle beauty in everything, clothes, gardens, that deep connection to nature and poetry. All of that was refined in Haikyuu. It's baked into Kyoto's cultural DNA even today. It was a time of incredible artistic flowering, a real focus inward.
And right at the very heart of this meticulously planned city, geographically and symbolically, was the Imperial Palace.
The center point.
For centuries, the nominal seat of government. And it still stands today, a real testament to that history, although people should know it's not like one single building frozen in time.
No, far from it.
It was the official home of emperors for, over 500 years, from 1331 until 1869. But it had a tough life. Fires were a constant problem in these old wooden
A
cities.
huge risk.
So it kept getting rebuilt, always carefully following traditional styles. This cycle of destruction and reconstruction, always referencing the past, it actually gives us this amazing record of architectural changes,
Right.
reflecting styles from the 8th century onwards. The buildings you see now, mostly from a rebuild in 1855.
Capturing that older grandeur.
Exactly. And one of the most important buildings is the Shinshinden, the Hall for State Ceremonies.
Yes.
Deliberately built in that classical high-end style, specifically for those elaborate enthronement ceremonies. The history in that hall.
Yeah.
Just imagine. Emperors Meiji, Taishu, Shushua, all enthroned right there.
Immense symbolic weight.
It really cemented its importance, like a living link to imperial power, even as the actual political power started to, well, shift dramatically.
And that shift is where the story gets really interesting. This dual narrative starts to emerge in Japanese history. After 1185, the imperial court's power finds itself increasingly challenged by the rise of a powerful new military class, the samurai. And then, in 1192, Minamoto no Yoritomo establishes the shogunate system. That's a massive turning point. Real political power now moves firmly into the hands of the shoguns, these powerful military dictators. And they ruled from their own centers, first Kamakura, later Edo, which we now know as Tokyo.
So the emperor stays in Kyoto.
Yes, the emperor remains in Kyoto, still the spiritual head, the symbol of a nation, the source of legitimacy, absolutely vital. But the day-to-day running of the country, the military muscle, the economic control, that's happening hundreds of kilometers away.
Wow, what a strange setup.
It created this unique, long-lasting dynamic, Kyoto, the undisputed heart of tradition, imperial legitimacy, the spiritual beacon, but actual political power elsewhere. Which really brings us back to that important question you raised earlier. What does happen to a capital when it loses its political clout but keeps its soul? How does a city handle that kind of identity shift?
Such a fascinating question. And Kyoto managed that duality for centuries. But then came what really could have been the knockout blow, 1868, the Meiji Restoration.
A pivotal year.
Emperor Meiji wants to modernize, consolidate power. He moves the imperial court from Kyoto to Edo, the Shushkun's old capital, and renames it Tokyo, the eastern capital.
A hugely symbolic act.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this move, the emperor leaving, it could easily have spelled the end for Kyoto, left it just a relic, right?
Yeah.
A ghost town without its main resident, its whole reason for being. The city was really on the edge.
It absolutely was. A moment of profound crisis, a real existential threat. But amazingly, that very crisis became the spark for Kyoto's incredible reinvention.
Instead of just fading away.
Exactly. Instead of becoming just another former capital, Kyoto consciously took on a new, arguably even more powerful role. It pivoted from political center to the active living preserver of the Japanese spirit, its cultural heritage.
So it wasn't passive decline, it was a choice.
A deliberate, strategic, and probably deeply emotional choice to use its unmatched heritage as its main asset. Kyoto basically transformed itself into this cherished monument to history and tradition, a living library of a past that was fading elsewhere and rapidly modernizing Japan.
You could really feel that today.
You absolutely can. The proof is everywhere. Roughly 20% of Japan's national treasures, about 15% of its important cultural properties, they're right here in Kyoto.
A staggering
It's
concentration.
incredible statistics.
So the paradox is striking, isn't it? Losing its political crown was, in a weird way, the very thing that guaranteed its cultural soul wouldn't just survive, but thrive for the world to see. It's an amazing story of resilience, of adaptation.
That really is an incredible story. And it brings us right to that cultural soul. If Kyoto's the spiritual heart, then it's arts. They're the lifeblood.
Absolutely.
The city is the cradle for so many of those quintessential Japanese aesthetic traditions, refined over centuries in temples, aristocratic homes, those intimate tea houses. And these aren't just pretty things, though they are stunningly beautiful. They're disciplines, ways, blending spirituality, philosophy, technique.
A whole worldview and practice. And it's key to remember, they didn't just appear out of nowhere. Their development was tied directly to the patronage, the ambitions of the ruling classes, from the hand court nobles right through to the powerful samurai lords.
Precisely. These traditions, yes, they drew initial inspiration from China, but they were uniquely refined, given a distinctly Japanese feel, right there in Kyoto. Japan, largely through Kyoto, developed its own styles, reflecting its own culture, its own landscape.
And what's really fascinating, as you hinted, is the sort of hidden history behind all that serenity.
Ah, yes.
The power dynamic.
These perfect flower arrangements, the calm tea ceremonies, the peaceful gardens, they were actually forged in a world of ambition, of power struggles.
It's true. As the samurai rose, they needed to legitimize their rule, not just with swords and politics, but with culture.
Showing they were refined, not just warriors. Exactly. They became huge patrons, dedicated practitioners of the arts. Historians talk about this unique military artistic complex. Mastering something like the tea ceremony or ikebana wasn't just a hobby. It showed you had taste, discipline, moral fiber. It became almost a requirement for being seen as a legitimate ruler.
Wow.
So these delicate arts carry this extra layer. Their serene beauty was, partly, a sophisticated tool used by warriors to prove they were worthy to govern. A real contrast between the surface and the underlying purpose.
That makes so much sense. They weren't just pastimes, they were statements. Let's dive into maybe the most famous of these ways. The Way of Tea, Chanoyu.
Essential Kyoto.
Its story starts with Buddhist monks bringing tea from China way back in the 9th century. Initially it was medicine, right? A stimulant to help monks meditate longer.
That's the origin, yes.
And we know Emperor Saga, as early as 816 AD, ordered tea plantations near Kyoto. So it entered aristocratic life pretty early on.
It did.
But by the Muromachi period, say 1336 to 1573, tea drinking was way beyond medicine. It became this really sophisticated pastime, especially for the samurai.
Their influence grew.
And tea gatherings weren't just social. They were political tools, used for making alliances, showing off refinement, even subtle power plays.
Absolutely. The setting mattered. The utensils mattered.
Apparently, they were so potent that there's a story, an anecdote, that the Ashikaga shogun once actually banned tea gatherings.
Really? Wow.
He was afraid his rivals were using them to plot against him in secret.
Wow. Talk about high-stakes tea. It makes you wonder what other quiet corners of Kyoto held hidden plots.
Exactly. So if tea could be that powerful, who took it to its peak?
That would undoubtedly be the 16th century master Senno Rikyu, a true revolutionary in the tea world.
What did he do?
He championed a style called wabicha. And this was a radical shift away from the really opulent displays, the fancy imported Chinese utensils that were popular before.
Okay, so less bling.
Much less bling. Rikyu pushed for simplicity, rustic imperfection, a deep appreciation for the fleeting moment. This is the aesthetic we now call wabi-sabi.
Finding beauty in the imperfect, the incomplete.
Precisely. And his philosophy is captured perfectly in the phrase ichigo ichi. One time, one meeting.
One time, one meeting.
It means cherish every single encounter, every shared cup as unique, unrepeatable. It will never happen quite like that again. It's a call for total mindfulness.
That's profound.
And his legendary tea house, Teian, just 2 mats small, in Kyoto's suburbs. It's like the physical embodiment of this. Many see it as the North Pole of Japanese aesthetics. Stark, unadorned simplicity. Showing that true beauty isn't in grandeur, but in the humble, the transient.
From a simple drink to profound ritual. Just like tea, Kyoto also perfected finding meaning in nature's fleeting beauty. Let's look at the Way of Flowers, Ikebana.
Another cornerstone.
Also rooted in Buddhism, starting with flower offerings at temples back when Buddhism arrived in the 6th century.
Yeah.
Monks started arranging them more artfully over time.
An aesthetic impulse, even in devotion.
And it's thought the first really stylized form of ikebana popped up in the 15th century at Kyoto's Rokakudo Temple. Its development was also really helped by changes in house design, specifically the tokonoma.
Ah, the alcove. Yes.
That dedicated space in a room, right?
Yeah.
It created this formal spot just for displaying art scrolls and, of course, seasonal flower arrangements, a focal point for contemplation.
Yeah.
Ikebana fit perfectly.
And Ikebana is absolutely steeped in Zen philosophy. It's far more than just pretty flowers in a vase. The structure itself is symbolic. It's based on 3 main lines or branches. Shin, the tallest, is heaven the divine. So the middle is humankind. And Hike, the lowest, is earth.
Heaven, humankind, earth.
Yes. And the careful arrangement of these, plus the really deliberate use of empty space ma, that's key, it creates this harmonious balance meant to represent the entire universe in one vessel.
The empty space is important.
Crucial. Here's where it gets really interesting. That idea of using emptiness to convey wholeness. It's not about cramming things in, it's the interplay between what's there and what's not there. It lets your mind complete the picture, find the meaning. It invites that slow, meditative gaze, just like the tea ceremony.
That concept of emptiness and contemplation. It leads us perfectly to perhaps the most uniquely Kyoto art form connected to Zen, the kasasui, dry landscape gardens.
The Zen rock gardens.
Yes, are amazing. They totally skip the bright flowers, the running water. Instead, you get this minimalist composition.
Oh.
Rocks, moss, meticulously raked sand or gravel.
Symbolizing water, ripples, clouds.
Exactly. And it's crucial to get that these are not gardens for strolling through, like a park in the West.
No, definitely not.
They're purely for contemplation. Abstract compositions. Designed to quiet the mind, cut distractions, inspire meditation. Like visual riddles or koans.
And the most famous, maybe the most mysterious example is definitely the rock garden at Ryon UNESCO site.
The one with the rocks you can't quite count.
That's the one. In this simple rectangle, 248 square meters, 15 stones, different sizes, arranged in 5 groups, all set in this sea of raked white gravel.
Okay.
But the genius, the mystery, is in the design. From any single spot on the viewing platform, you can never see all 15 rocks at once. At least one is always hidden.
Why? What does it mean?
That's the big question. Its origins, its meaning.
Right.
Still a profound mystery. People have debated it for centuries. Some say it's a tiger and her cubs crossing water. Others see islands in an ocean or mountains through clouds.
So no single answer.
Many believe its power comes precisely from not having one fixed meaning. It's an empty vessel. You, the viewer, pour your own consciousness into it. It's a perfect expression of Zen ambiguity.
Wow.
So what does this all mean for us? It means Kyoto asks you to participate, to find your own meaning in its carefully crafted beauty. It doesn't just hand you an easy answer. It invites you to look deeper, to reflect.
I love that Kyoto asks you to engage, and the best way to engage is really to get out there, walk around, feel the place.
Absolutely. It's a city discovered on foot.
Its real character isn't in some grand overview from a tower. It's in the little details of these preserved neighborhoods. So let's wander through some iconic districts. Each one has its own feel, its own story, shaped by what it used to be, its own rhythm.
You're absolutely right. Walking through these districts is like, well, time travel. You're moving through different eras, different social levels of the old capital. These areas are living links to the past, taking you from, say, the exclusive world of entertainment to sacred pilgrimage routes to the quiet retreats of the nobility. They're not just old buildings, they're living archives, each with its own narrative, like chapters in a really long, fascinating book.
Okay, chapter 1 has to be Gion,
Right.
Kyoto's most famous hanamachi, the geisha district.
The quintessential image for many.
It's been the heart of traditional arts and entertainment for centuries, tucked between Yasaka Shrine to the east and the Kamo River on the west. It's a world of these lantern-lit alleys, those preserved wooden machiya townhouses. You still feel that refined, exclusive atmosphere.
It's very distinct.
The main street, Hanamikoji Street, is stunning. Flagstone Lane, lined with ochaya, the tea houses and fancy restaurants where gaiko, that's the Kyoto word for geisha, and maiko, their apprentices, entertained guests.
Performing traditional arts.
And in the early evening, when dusk falls, the lanterns light up. The street becomes like a stage. You might catch a glimpse of these incredibly elegant women in their beautiful kimono, hurrying off to appointments.
It's quite a sight.
But it's so important for visitors to remember, these are professionals. Artists heading to work, upholding ancient traditions. Observe respectfully, keep your distance. No chasing or intrusive photos.
Absolutely crucial. Respect is key.
For something a bit quieter, maybe even more beautiful, there's the Shirakawa area, north side of Gion. A lovely canal, weeping willows, more traditional restaurants. Very serene, especially in spring. You can really feel the history there.
And Dion, as you say, it's much more than just the entertainment, captivating as that is.
Right.
It's also home to Kinninji Temple, which is actually Kyoto's oldest Zen temple, founded 1202 by Aizai.
The monk who brought tea culture.
The very same. Which creates this fascinating, often missed link between Gion's tea houses and its deep spiritual roots.
Ah, interesting connection.
And at the district's eastern edge, you have the magnificent Yasaka Shrine, a spiritual hub for over 3,350 years. And it hosts the famous Gion Matsuri.
One of Japan's biggest festivals.
Absolutely huge, spectacular, millions attend. So what's fascinating here is that even in a district famous for pleasure and entertainment, you find these incredibly deep historical and spiritual roots. It shows how interconnected everything is in Kyoto. It's not just surface level, it's layers upon layers of meaning.
Layers is the perfect word. Okay, from Gion's refinement, let's head east to Higashiyama. Literally, eastern mountains or slopes of history.
A beautiful area.
It really is. Nestled against the hills east of the city center, it's one of Kyoto's best preserved historic spots. Walking through Higashiyama feels like stepping back in time. Narrow, stone-paved lanes, traditional shops selling pottery, sweets, crafts, little restaurants, catering to pilgrims and tourists for centuries.
You can feel that history.
And the absolute highlight is Kiyomizu-dera, the pure water temple.
Iconic.
Founded way back in 778, its most famous feature.
Yeah.
That massive wooden stage, the butai, it juts out from the main hall, dramatic.
Incredible structure.
Incredible. Built from 168 Zelkova wood pillars, 410 cypress boards, all put together without a single nail.
Astonishing craftsmanship.
And the view from there. Breathtaking. You see the city, the cherry trees, the maples. Amazing in spring and autumn.
Truly spectacular.
And the temple's name, Kiyomizu, pure water, comes from the Otowa waterfall at the base. Its water splits into 3 streams. Visitors drink from them with these long ladles.
For good fortune.
Exactly. Each stream supposedly grants a different benefit. Longevity, success in school, or finding love. It's this lovely mix of belief and tradition, sacred and everyday. I could just picture pilgrims doing the same thing centuries ago.
And Higashiyama's charm goes well beyond Kiyomizu-dera. There's so much more to discover, adding layers to the story.
Like what?
Well, just a short walk away, you see the striking 5-story Yasaka Pagoda. It's the last bit left of the 6th century Hokanji temple, a real landmark against the sky.
Oh, I know the one.
Nearby is Kodaji Temple from 1606. Beautiful Zen gardens, a really peaceful bamboo grove, actually older than the famous one in Arashiyama.
Really? Didn't know that.
And further north, you find the Philosopher's Path, Tetsugaku no Michi.
Ah, yes, lovely walk.
A serene 2-kilometer path along a canal lined with hundreds of cherry trees. Connects Nanzenji Temple area with Ginkakuji, the Silver Pavilion. It's named after Nishida Kitaro, a famous 20th century philosopher who supposedly walked it daily to meditate.
Makes sense.
And this really raises an important question for you, our listener. How do these spaces, like the Philosopher's Path, designed for quiet thought surrounded by nature, encourage a certain kind of reflection? One that fits so well with Kyoto's whole aesthetic of quiet appreciation. It's more than just a pretty path, it's an invitation to pause, to think.
That's a great point. They're very intentional spaces. Okay, final district for our walkabout. Let's head to the western edge of Kyoto, Arashiyama. The Whispering Bamboo.
A classic destination.
So scenic, nestled against those forested hills. It's been a favorite retreat since the Heian era itself. Nobles would escape the city bustle, write poetry, just enjoy the natural beauty.
1,000 years of appreciation.
Today it offers something different, but just as captivating. It's most famous, of course, for the Arashiyama Bamboo Grove.
Unforgettable.
One of Kyoto's most iconic, almost otherworldly sights. The path through it isn't super long, but the feeling is totally immersive. Thousands of these towering green bamboo stalks, creating this dense canopy. Sunlight filters down. It's ethereal.
Hushed. And the sound.
Oh, the sound. The wind rustling the leaves, the stalks gently clacking. The government actually named it one of the 100 soundscapes of Japan.
A designated soundscape. That tells you something.
It really does.
But Arashiyama's importance goes deeper than just the bamboo, stunning as it is. You also have the magnificent Tenryuji Temple there.
Right, the UNESCO site.
Exactly. A major Zen temple. Its garden, designed by the famous monk Muso Soseki, is a masterpiece, especially known for using sake.
Borrowed scenery.
That's it. It seamlessly pulls the distant Arashiyama Mountains right into the garden's design. They feel like part of it, this living backdrop.
Clever.
The area is also defined by the Hozugawa River, crossed by the elegant Takatsukiyo Bridge, moon crossing bridge.
Beautiful name.
It offers one of Japan's most famous views, especially during cherry blossom season or when the autumn leaves turn. Just spectacular colors.
It'd be incredible.
And for a totally different view and some fun, you can hike up the mountainside a bit to the Iwatayama Monkey Park.
Monkeys.
Yes! Free-roaming Japanese macaques, plus amazing panoramic views back over Kyoto. So here's where it gets really interesting. Arashiyama isn't just pretty. It shows how landscape has been woven into Japanese art and life for over 1,000 years. Not just a backdrop, but an active participant in the city's aesthetic and spirit.
Woven in. I like that. Okay, we've explored history, aesthetics, districts. Now we absolutely have to talk about food. A culinary pilgrimage.
Oh, yes. Kyoriori.
Kyoto's cuisine. It really reflects the city, doesn't it? Refined, elegant, deeply tied to history, spirituality, nature.
It absolutely does.
It's a tradition shaped by centuries of emperors living there, by Buddhist philosophy, by the specific local ingredients. Eating in Kyoto, especially traditionally, feels like taking part in an art form. Seasonality shunned is everything. Presentation is meticulous, celebrating the quality of simple, pure ingredients.
It's mindful eating.
Totally. Nourishing body and soul.
And you mentioned shun, celebrating ingredients at their absolute peak. That, along with umami, that savory fifth taste, really defines Kyoto cuisine. But there's a crucial invisible ingredient too. Water.
Water.
Yes. Kyoto's famous all over Japan for its soft, pure groundwater. It's credited with letting the subtle, natural flavors of ingredients shine, no harsh minerals getting in the way.
That makes sense.
For exceptional tofu silky smooth, delicate soba noodles, clean-tasting sake. And the city's deep Buddhist history had a massive impact, too.
How so?
The dietary needs of all those monks led to shojin ryori, this incredibly sophisticated, flavorful vegetarian cuisine.
Right, temple cuisine.
And that heritage also led to cultivating unique heirloom vegetables, the Kyo yasai. Varieties developed over centuries just for Kyoto tastes. All this makes Kyoto probably the best place in Japan, maybe the world, for amazing traditional vegetarian and vegan food.
Wow, good to know.
So what's fascinating here is how geography, spirituality, technique, it all comes together on the plate. The food is a direct reflection of the city's soul.
And the absolute pinnacle of that dining experience have to be kaiseki, right?
The ultimate expression, yes.
Traditional, multi-course hot cuisine. It's as much a feast for the eyes as the stomach. A kaiseki meal isn't just ordering off a menu, it's a set journey. Seasonal, curated by the chef. Like a poem unfolding.
Beautifully put.
It's this delicate balance, flavor, texture, color, presented with incredible artistry. Every detail matters, the order of dishes, the exquisite pottery, the lacquerware, each piece chosen to complement the food. It really elevates dining.
It does.
A typical dinner might have small courses, sakizuke, appetizer, fimono, clear soup, tsukuri, sashimi, yakimono, grilled dish, a progression.
Exactly right. Each course highlights the best of the moment, telling the story of the season on the plate. It mirrors that appreciation for impermanence we see elsewhere in Japanese aesthetics.
Ah, good connection.
Eating kaiseki, especially overlooking a garden, it's one of Kyoto's most memorable cultural experiences, an immersion in the city's philosophy. Which raises an important question for you, listening. How does a meal like this, focused on season, presentation, simplicity elevated, change how you think about food? Does it become art? Like the gardens or tea? It asks you to savor the whole experience, the craft, the moment.
A deeper appreciation. And for connecting even more deeply with Kyoto's spiritual side through food, there's shojin ryori and yudofu.
Flavors of devotion indeed.
Shojin ryori, born in Zen temple kitchens, strict vegetarian principles. It's deeply philosophical, emphasizing simplicity, balance, respecting every ingredient, no waste. The preparation itself is meditative. And a key ingredient is yuba.
Tofu skin. Yay.
Delicate, nutritious, made by skimming the film off heated soy milk. Even the process sounds patient.
It is. And the absolute essence of this elegant simplicity is yudofu, boiled tofu.
Sounds plain.
But it's emphatically not bland. It's a celebration of purity. High-quality, fresh tofu, gently simmered in a light, subtle broth, often dashi, letting the tofu's own creamy flavor shine.
And that goes back to the water.
Exactly. Kyoto's soft, pure water lets those delicate tofu flavors come through beautifully. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, it shows Kyoto's food isn't just about taste or art. It's about appreciating nature, mindfulness, finding profound beauty in simplicity. A quiet testament to the city's enduring values.
What an incredible journey we've taken today. From Kyoto's start as capital, its reinvention, exploring its aesthetics, tea, flowers, gardens wandering, Gion, Higashiyama, Arashiyama, and tasting Kyoyori.
We've covered a lot of ground.
What really stands out, I think, is how everything in Kyoto, from ancient power to a single flower, a simple dish, speaks to this continuous search for beauty and meaning, even through massive change.
It's a persistent thread.
It really is.
Yeah.
Kyoto is one of those places that, as we said at the start, really does visit you. It lingers.
Mm-hmm. And this deep dive into Kyoto, it really challenges us, doesn't it? To think about something fundamental.
Right.
In a world that's always chasing the new, the fast, the disposable. What's the real enduring value in deliberately preserving tradition? Not as some static thing in a museum, but as a living, breathing testament to identity, to aesthetics, to a way of life.
That's a powerful question.
Kyoto's whole philosophy, balancing the fleeting nature of things with this mindful appreciation for the moment, it offers a potent lesson, one that maybe resonates far beyond Japan, asking us all to look closer, listen harder, find meaning in the quiet, carefully crafted details of our own lives, perhaps. Something to reflect on.
Absolutely. What an amazing, thought-provoking idea to leave you all with. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Kyoto's timeless heart. We hope you feel a bit more connected to this extraordinary city and maybe inspired to continue your own exploration.